Right, thanks all for coming. This is called Lifetime Gig. It's the first one I've done. I talked about doing it for a long time, so anyway, here we go. Like most people, I wasn't a miracle, hence the normal name, Moz. Grew up like most kids. Spent a bit of time in care and foster care, shit like that. Didn't really bother me that much, although I did think the foster family was a fucking big family. I remember at one time I lived in a convent for a little bit, which is a cool place to live in a sense, because there's just women there mainly, unless when the vicar came to visit, which most of us kids were told to leave the building at that time. But you sort of had this belief in the sense of, because they were like warriors of God, that if you did anything wrong, they were the first stop. You were going to get found out, and you would never go to wherever this place was that you were supposed to go if you were very, very good. So as a result, I was quite a good child at the beginning, and this did have its own problems. I mean, running away for one, I could never do it, because the nuns would always pick me up in the town centre. Too many fucking stop signs. As an adult, you can see this shit. As a child, you obviously don't. But, I mean, how many of you got kids? Have you got one? Who's got kids in the room now? So there's only one of you with kids, right? Well, I know that's bullshit. There's more of you with kids. And they say the funniest things. Like, I was on holiday with my little one, and he suddenly announced to the whole family, he says, "I've got something to announce." I said, "What is it, son?" He says, "Dad," he says, "I'm coming out of the closet because it's too fucking hot in there." Now, that kind of shit is just funny. I like it. And do you know what I mean? But yeah, so I mean, as a child, I found it difficult to run away. But adulthood, I mean, there's a very small line between childhood, the innocence of childhood, and the stupidity of adulthood. It's like, I've got teenagers, and I think I have definitely noticed, because like I've seen a child now go from babies, where it's Google gurgle, right up now to like adults, and the journey along the way is just funny. The whole thing is funny. It's like when they say imagination, a child's imagination goes at around the age of, I don't know, 9, 10. Bollocks. It comes straight back again at 16, 17 and 18. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but when you have a child at that age, they will argue with you, and they will argue as they're walking up the stairs. But they must have this belief that the door is magic in some way, because as soon as they get behind the door and they shut their bedroom door, they suddenly become Superman, and they shout out the most bizarre shit at you as if they cannot be touched. So obviously imagination in teenagers is quite big. I mean, my beginnings was no different to most people's beginnings, 2 pissheads having a night out, and I was created. Those that say that children are planned, I find it hard to imagine. I think most children are accidents, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm trying to picture it, trying to plan having a baby. That'd be like making a pizza with your partner. You wouldn't be able to agree whether you wanted thick or fucking thin crust. Then you wouldn't be able to agree on the fucking topping. It'd be a nightmare. Do you know? It would. So I mean, like most kids, they are accidents. Like it or lump it, we love them to pieces, and they're our children. But most kids are, like I say, the only difference between when I was being born and the teenagers this day and age that are having kids is Jeremy Kyle, to point it out. I never had that when I was a kid. I think if we had Jeremy Kyle when I was a kid, things may have been different. It's bizarre. And some of the shit you see when you're walking around the street is madness. I was out the other day, and I went and sat at a bus stop, and and it was pissing down with rain, and the bus stop, in this day and age you'd expect it, was absolutely destroyed. The roof was not there, so hence the rain was coming through. And there's this little lad sat there with, I presume, his dad, or I don't know, his carer or something, and the rain's pouring down, no sign of the bus, and this little kid turns to this guy and he says, "Don't you wish we had a car?" And the guy looks down at him and he says, "Yeah, we could sit in it and wait for this fucking bus." Which I thought was, that's the way it is today. It's just crazy shit. I spoke to a friend of mine on the phone just before coming on tonight, right, Malcolm. He is humour in himself. He's a brilliant bloke. But he's nearly 70, right? And the insurance ringing him up, right? And I'm going to tell you that this is right. I said to him, I said, what? Because he gets panicky about it. And I said to him, well, what's the matter? He said, "Oh, Morris," they started asking me all these questions. I said, well, what kind of questions? He said, well, you know, they said, question 1, you know, do you live near a shop? Question 2, are there any cars in your, you know, in or around your house? And question 3, do you live near it or on a street corner which has hoodies on it? I said, well, Malcolm, you know, in this day and age, these are questions they need to ask. I mean, look at the raids that have just been happening. You know, they're just covering their own back. I mean, look at the riots, right? The riots themselves, they're not as easy as they used to be. I mean, in the old days, I mean, there's only been one big one, but I remember seeing pictures, and every fucker had a shopping trolley. Now you've got to pay £1 for one of those. So, I mean, you either pay the £1 for the shopping trolley, right? Honestly, I was speaking to a taxi driver. No, listen. I was chatting to a taxi driver, right? Me and the wife, coming back from the institute. And this taxi driver, he says to me, he says, when it all happened in Manchester, he said, the police, he said, they did the proper things. I said, what? He said, what they did is they stopped all the fucking buses and all the trams. So I said, and how did that make it easier? And he said, well, it's not so fucking clever when you got to carry your own shit back home with you, is it? And I just thought about that, and it's like, well, you're true, yeah, you're right, because in the old rights, like I say, they had shopping trolleys, but now because of the system that we live in, you can still have the shopping trolleys, but it'll just be a long fucking caterpillar, and you'll only be able to use the end one. So, other than that, pay £1. So maybe they did get it right, but I don't know. I don't know if any of you were affected by the riots, but I wasn't really, because I didn't go out, I had curfew. But that's another thing, curfew. Would it actually work? I mean, how many people, you know, in this day and age can tell the time? Because, I mean, I remember from being a kid, as soon as someone showed me a digital watch, what, time goes past 12? Fuck. That just blew my fucking mind. It was like, for all this time, I have thought there's been 12 on a clock. Now you're fucking telling me there's 24. That's like double the shit. Can you imagine telling that to a child? So saying to people about a curfew, it ain't gonna happen. And I mean, let's face another fact. Most people play online fucking gaming. They're gonna want to know, is that server time or is that UK time? It's just not gonna work. So the curfew is just out the fucking window. Do you know what I mean? I'll tell you this thing, and this is true, right? Kids, I'm going to go on about kids again because I think they're just funny. And when I was a kid, I did something that to this day is the funniest thing as an adult, looking back, I ever did. And I was walking across this park with a group of friends, and on the floor was a cigar, and it was complete in wrapper. And I think I was about, I don't know, 12, 13, and I'd started smoking and all that lot. And we saw this cigar, and it's like, whoa. Because I don't know what it is about a cigar, but you go all Al Capone. No matter how old you are, you know, once you've seen a horse's head at the bottom of someone's bed, you see a cigar, you just go mental. And it was like, we're going to have this. So I picked the cigar up and took charge of the situation. Opened the cigar, put it in my mouth, got the lighter out. Took a huge fucking drag of this cigar. Really big drag, right? Because I was a kid, I didn't know you had to, like, do rings and all that crap. So I inhaled it, just like a normal cigarette. That's fine, that is. One of the lads turned around and said, well, let me have a go. Then I said, hang on, then I'll split it. He said, yeah, split it on that cut there. I said, all right then. So I split the cigar right along this cut. Passed in the other half, then I relit down my new half of cigar. And then I took a big fucking inhale. Turned red, nearly collapsed, fell on the floor. Moral of the story is, if you find a cigar on the floor, make sure it hasn't got a split in before you light it the first time, and then split it along the split that was already there, hence getting the full impact of the cigar.